I want you to repeat after me. The environment.
The environment.
The environment.
The environment
is our life.
is our life.
It's not for sale.
It's not for sale.
The environment
The environment
is our life.
is our life.
It is not for sale.
It is not for sale.
Thank you. It is warming up. Very especially, I want to recognize our very dear partner in energy provision of Nigeria, working with civil society and government. The project is by the Pan-African Climate Alliance and Africa Coalition for Sustainable Energy in collaboration with Environmental Rights Action, Friends of the Earth, Nigeria, as well as civil society groups, community representatives here, and allies in the communities and all over Nigeria. The focus on alternative pathways to just energy transition embodies the vision of ASEA, which is energy transition that are people-centered. The aim of ASEA is to ensure that just energy transition occur within an improved energy access. However, in Nigeria, in general, clean energy access is limited due to energy poverty that is prevalent in Nigeria. And as a matter of fact, demand outstrips supply. Through the ASEA Nigerian platform, a just energy transition movement building for energy transition is imperative. The ASEA project launch is important to address issues of energy governance, to allow for decentralized energy systems that are socially driven and promote community energy in off-grid, mini-grid, and standalone systems. There is the need for capacity building and training for civil society to have a strong voice in the decision-making process and influence policy change for renewable energy. An inclusive energy governance system that allows citizens and vulnerable groups as part of decision-making in energy governance is central to the goal of just. Another priority area is giving a strong boost to local capacity for local manufacturing of renewable energy gadgets. I'm so pleased to mention again our DG from National Power Training Institute of Nigeria, who has graciously collaborated with Environmental Rights Action, and as we speak, we have trained about 100 youths in renewable energy installations, supply, and maintenance. So thank you very much for that. This is not gainsaying at all. They have given us a discount of about 40% in the cost for these trainings across a 2-3 years period. And as I speak to you now, our partnership trainees to your institute. Sir, we use this opportunity to thank you for the support and encouragement you are giving to civil society groups. This is to promote technological advancement in renewable energy sector and the generation of green jobs through greener technologies to avoid energy colonialism of Nigeria and of course Africa as a dumping ground for all sorts of technologies. Furthermore, the multilateral process and renewable energy initiatives currently ongoing in Nigeria and Africa lack effective coordination. We will build capacities. I have 2 microphones with me. The aim is for us to build capacities and develop monitoring tools to monitor the level of coordination, country level performance, and impact on citizens. In launching the Civil Society Nigerian ASEA platform, I call on everyone to support a just energy transition that are people-centered. Thank you, and God bless you.
Amen.
It's our life.
It's our life.
It's not for sale.
It's not for
Can you stand up, please? The environment.
the environment.
It's our life. It's not for sale. Put your right hand on the air. The environment. I know you have been wanting to punch. Please don't punch anybody. The environment. It's our life. It's not for sale. Thank you.
One of the reasons this Pan-African platform was created was we have been used to going for these international meetings, and when you get there, somebody introduces you. When you say, okay, I'm Augustine, I'm from Cameroon, he says, okay, come, you need to meet Uzi. You have a brother here from Nigeria. Then you meet at that place. And you don't know what to discuss, right? Because he left from Nigeria and went to that meeting. I left from Cameroon. We have no common agenda. So it was very, very important for African civil society to come together and learn to speak in one voice. You know, unless and until you articulate your own issues from your perspective, from the ground, even if someone were to tell a story for you, it will not be as deep as if you told it yourself. So we as African organizations decided to come together and say, look, in as much as we're in this global village, Africa has peculiar problems. We need to access that was created again in Egypt during AMSEC in 2016. And what was the purpose? The purpose is to have an African movement that articulates energy issues from a Pan-African perspective. You know, about energy, we usually say, asking an average African, whether they need renewable energy or energy from dirty sources. It's like asking a hungry man that has never seen food whether they will prefer salad or carnivorous, whether meat, right? All they need is food to survive. That's how we need energy. That's how we need energy. 600 million of Africans live in darkness. You can't imagine. So energy poverty in sub-Saharan Africa is acute. So when you want to bring the luxury of saying renewable energy is against fossil energy, our campaign is focused on access. But the right access, we are saying we should invest in renewable energy. One, because it's energy for the future. Two, it's energy that is less polluting. And it's energy that is accessible, can be made accessible to the last mile, to those isolated communities, in the creeks, in the Niger Delta. You know, we've depended on this grid for a long time. And with renewable energy schemes, this is happening, and this can happen. So, climate change, the climate regime has been spoiled by the enormous and continuous emission of greenhouse gases since the Industrial Revolution in 1832. Up till now. Who are those who benefited from the Industrial Revolution? It's not us. It is those countries that have so developed. Now they can have the luxury of choosing what to have because they have a choice. I'm not by any way insinuating that we should continue in dirty energy because it has no future. It has no future. And access is difficult. A couple of years ago, I was invited by the then governor of Rivers State, Governor, his Minister Amachi, to speak at an open government policy meeting that he was organizing in his country, in his state. Then, as we sat in the hall, before he spoke, there was a commotion out in front of the hall. When we stepped out, we saw women that had removed cassava, dripping oil from the water because of pollution. So when we say, let's stop investing in this dirty energy, it's not only for climate regime, it is what we see on the ground. It's also for that purpose. The energy system that we're using and is polluting is bringing inequalities in our societies. We should rethink. Let's not think that we're advocating for renewable energy just for climate mitigation. By the way, how much of emission comes from the energy sector in the continent? Very minimal. So if we only leave the argument of climate mitigation, we will not have a case. But when we say we want to invest in renewable energy, it is because it is with that system that we can create more access. It is with that system that we can avoid environmental pollution that affects us locally. And one of the things you saw is COVID. COVID came and compounded an already worsening situation where health centers in the communities could not store any vaccines or any medication because they don't have electricity.
For all the work you put in and contribution towards establishing this project, which is aimed to strengthen civil society actors to influence national and regional policies on renewable energy that will respond to energy needs of the masses and contribute to reducing greenhouse gas emission. And I also want to appreciate the German Federal Ministry of Environment, Nature Conservation, Nuclear Safety and Consumer Protection, who have supported this project through the International Climate Initiative. I want to believe that this project will also equip the CSOs with updated skills, knowledge, and tools to engage in renewable energy policy development and program implementation monitoring, and strengthen the voice of the local and continental levels. Sustainable energy is energy that needs the needs of the present generations without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Sustainable energy sources are the best sources of energy for our homes and businesses because they are not only renewable, but are also frequently developed closer to the end user than the traditional generic plants which we have. The world is making progress towards the goal 7 with encouraging signs that energy is becoming more sustainable and widely available. Nevertheless, more focused attention is needed to improve access to clean and safe cooking fuels and technologies, to expand the use of renewable energy beyond the electricity sector, and to increase electrification in sub-Saharan Africa. In order to achieve a just energy transition that is sustainable and people-oriented, active participation of CSOs and CBOs in the sphere of influence of this renewable energy is highly needed to ensure buy-in and prevent external interest from directing and dominating the space. This will also bring about a monitoring, reporting, and verification initiative that could track, especially Nigeria's NDC SDGs implementation. The environmental right actions, Friends of the Earth, Nigeria can always count on NAPTIN's readiness and commitment as a strategic partner and ally to support your efforts at any level and at any time, especially through capacity building on renewable energy and energy efficiency. Having said that, I would just, want to add, to the fact that Dr. Joe, I must, really commend you for your efforts. I must commend, ERA for your initiative. Yes, we partner with you because we believe in what you are doing. Skills acquisition is very, very key. Because I've always said this, that, look, we need to start building skills, not only in the power sector, in all sectors, because the white-collar job is no longer there. The only way you can effectively empower, the generation, to come is to build an architecture, whereby you have skills, empowerment, skills and capacity for them, to really channel their future. Because if you now sit down and then you want to go and work as an administrator, you know very well that your career prospect is highly limited. So let's see what we can do with our hands. Let's see, how we can encourage our youth in order, to build on the skills and the
country facilitator for the NDC partnership. And the NDC partnership is a coalition of international institutions and countries that are supporting Nigeria to implement its commitment under the Paris Agreement. And we have submitted a revised NDC, which is quite ambitious. And of course, renewable energy is a large component of that. And what we are hoping to do is to identify those partners that we might be able to increase value for us. And I think NAPTIC will certainly do that because we have a large component of capacity building. And of course, you cannot do something if you don't understand it. We cannot achieve all these 13 gigawatts of targets that is set in the NDC without having the necessary capacity. So I think at the appropriate time we'll approach you, and we hope that you will be able to support us. And perhaps also, since we have at least currently we have 11 international partners supporting us, perhaps there will be opportunity for some kind of support to supplement what we are currently doing. Thank you, Pacha, for this. I think for us in Africa, because this is a continental project, and thank you for selecting Nigeria as one of the case studies. Of course, our problem in Africa is further compounded by climate change. We already have issues of poverty. And the February report of the IPCC, which is the Intercontinental Panel on Climate Change, which was released in February, is quite disturbing. Shows that the threat is going to affect the economy, it's going to affect food security, it's going to affect livelihoods, it's going to affect infrastructure, and of course even health is going to be impacted. And what this means is that while we are contending with our day-to-day challenges of life, climate change is exacerbating that. So again, we need to do that in a way that while we are addressing climate change, we don't die in the process. So it's a matter of trade-offs. Do we deal with climate change and leave poverty issue? Do we deal with energy access and leave climate change? These are difficult questions. And of course, these issues are intrinsically linked. So you cannot deal with one without having to deal with the other. So I think for me, my key message to this group today is that while we are pursuing this issue of just transition and just energy transition, we should keep two things in our minds. Let's try to understand the context of which this initiative is being pushed. Do we have a clarity of the outcomes of this particular initiative? The other one is we should have clarity too on the pathway. How do we get there? So these are two main things, and I think this is my message for you today, that while these international mechanisms are being introduced, let's have a good, proper understanding of what it means to us and how it impacts on our life. On that note, I wish you all the best, and I pray for joining me here. So thank you very much.
Energy sector, from issues related to access, but also issues related to the governance of the space itself, and how those issues affect the way people are able to access energy, especially those who are on the margins of the policy processes and the investment decisions that are made. And so we feel, from our point of view, that you cannot resolve these problems without a party that is uninterested coming in to ensure that the decision making and the policy development processes integrate the concerns of these populations that are on the margins of decisions. And so we are left with a landscape that is marked by this abject energy poverty. In fact, if you read a little bit, there are all kinds of indications that energy access is a problem in Africa. But I think the one that we want to use a little more often is the idea that if we took everyone who doesn't have electricity in the world, 75% of those people are in sub-Saharan Africa, which means that energy access is a sub-Saharan African problem. And therefore, as sub-Saharan Africans, it's true that this project is also implemented in Northern Africa, but as sub-Saharan Africans, we cannot ignore the problem of energy access, especially when that problem competes with other energy-related issues such as a reduction of emissions related to global warming and climate change. And so, energy access is, and I think should be, where it isn't, a major policy priority, not only for governments, but I think increasingly for those who make the decisions about what kinds of investments we do on the continent. And we feel strongly, as a movement that is driven primarily by climate agenda, by climate justice agenda, that renewable energy, because of its co-benefits in enhancing the climate system and avoiding emissions in our case, should be at the center of any effort to bridge this gap in energy access that exists on the continent. But that also comes with a number of risks, which Dr. Jamshi spoke to briefly. One is that we could still have a renewable energy system, a very successful transition that leaves multitudes of people on the margins of access to energy. And a good example is the fact that in the current discussions, even at the most influential policy level, is still around adding renewable energy to national grids, which have proven very effective in delivering energy to rural communities. But there's also the risk in that everyone is going to try to do their own thing. In fact, we found out in a study we did last year that there are at least 58 national and multilateral and bilateral initiatives on renewable energy in Africa. And each of these initiatives is operating in a silo. And because of that, we are seeing that the renewable energy initiatives are focusing on a narrow range of renewable energy options and policy options. The vast majority of them are focusing on solar and wind, but we are not fully exploring the potential for renewable energy solutions on the continent. The second risk that comes with is that those initiatives are concentrated in a few countries. Now, if you look at the figures on renewable energy investment in Africa in the last, say, 10 years, in fact, in the last 3 or 4 years, you will find that it has grown tremendously. But it's shocking when you look at the figures closely that 80% of that growth took place in one country, South Africa. The remaining 20%, 60% of that took place in another one country, Kenya, which means that the entire sub-Saharan Africa has not seen a tremendous increase in investment in renewable energy. And these are the risks that come with initiatives that lack coordination and are not influenced by people on the ground. And so as a solution, and which is what is bringing us a little closer to the project, We think that a strong civil society movement is needed to shape these policies and decisions. We don't, as civil society organization, we don't sit in the boardrooms to make decisions about what kind of energy to invest in, how much to invest in, where to send the energy, how much to price it. We're not in positions to make those decisions, but we have tremendous power to influence those decisions through our own actions. And you will see shortly that one of the things that the Nigeria platform will be doing would be engaging with national stakeholders to ensure that the policy decisions or the policy development processes and the decision making integrates the concerns that the project wants to address. So, therefore,
ladies and gentlemen, this case is a case of engagement. The reason we have a case here and we saw the community women and the traditional rulers is to say that we are all committed to engage in energy governance and sustainable energy development in Nigeria. It starts with the women and it ends with the women. And that's why this case was specially requested to be shared by the women. Any day you remember that you talk the case, you want to fight for energy access and governance in Nigeria. That's the symbolism of this case. And that our leaders, traditional leaders, will have the culture of always inviting these women for the discussions at the local level, that they have a seat at the table. It should become part of our culture, a culture of consultation, a culture of participation, a culture of access to information. That is what we stand for, and that is when this case we have had a meeting in Nigeria. So that is the symbolism.
Privilege and honor that I hereby launch ASEAN Nigeria to the glory of God and the service of humanity.
Thank you so much, Didi. So we'll go right ahead to cut the cake. The women first. When I'm done spelling access, we are just going to cut the cake. So give me the A. A. Give me the C. C. Double C.
Double C, 2 C's, 2 C's, and 2 S. What do we want? What do we want?
Energy access.
What do we want? Energy access. What do we want?
Energy access.
When do you want it?
Now.
When do you want it?
Now.
Put your hands up. When do you want it?
Now.
When do you want it?
Now.
Thank you very much.
The aim and the objective of this program, like you know, the Energy Commission of Nigeria is the apex body, the arm of the government that strategically coordinates the activities of the energy sector in Nigeria. And one of the basic aims, or one of the basic ways that this is done is through the formulation of the national energy policy and the national energy master plan. And this program, of course, has to do with creating an avenue where the grassroots could be reached. And one of the strategic or one of the basic bodies is the corporate social organization. So it's indeed a very good program, it's a good project, it's laudable. And when it comes to the area of renewable energy and energy efficiency, especially at the grassroots level, it's indeed a very good direction. And I would really like to thank the organizers for the opportunity of being here and also welcome every one of us, and to see this as an opportunity where each and every one of us can play a role in reaching out to the grassroots, the individuals, the village women, the unreached people, the laymen, to see how in their own way they could use energy efficient and then promote the use of renewable energy technologies. Thank you so much. My name is Paul Inadegu, and I'm here with my other colleague, Jennifer. Thank you.
To be able to deliver on some of the requirements of the donor, but also on the outcomes of the project. So this is really a very kind of presentation that otherwise could have been done with a few people, but it's a good idea. We thought that everyone knows how the project is run, so that if you have any part to play in the implementation of the project at any point, you understand what the requirements are. So the first thing we really hope that we can understand is the way the project is structured in terms of the function is made so that there is no confusion when we leave here as to ownership and responsibilities in the implementation of the project. So sometimes, that's why sometimes when we introduce ourselves, you will hear us use Axia and Abuja in the same sentence. Because as far as we're concerned, those two entities work hand in hand. And that's also why at some point you may get communication on the project from Abuja and not directly from us. Or you will see our email come eugene@panga.org and the next day it's coming Eugene at Axia 2054.
For us to attain sustainable energy access and governance in Nigeria, in Africa, it involves cooperation of knowledge as well as capacity building, and it also involves people-centered equity engagement. I think I just derived everything inside of it because it involves all of the stakeholders combined and not just a particular section of people or a particular, maybe caucus, if I put it that way. So it involves everybody, and that's where we are, and that's our way forward as we move towards making sure that this platform or this coalition becomes more driven in terms of having its target achieved from energy access to governance issues. Before I draw the curtain, I think I just want to reflect on the issues from the COP27 engagement forthcoming. Of course, Eugene has said a lot, and we've also gathered a lot from the advocacy strategy. But one key thing is also running through is that one, we have recognized, of course, that COP26 failed us in terms of our special needs and circumstances. And of course, energy is key once it comes to that. And so we need to now think of building a momentum that will help us achieve that as we move forward. Because we already have this on our table. And even in participation, we have to also enable equity-based participation and not just selective few. Because it has also been an issue of some persons have been privileged to be there. And I always say that sometimes those are the community that we talk about or that we want to champion are always not available. And now the SBC meeting is coming up, which is a key decision-making body for even the COP. Because it's not the COP that decisions are even being made. It's at the SBC level. So what are preparations towards that? Because at the COP we conclude and everything is cemented. But we have a meeting, a pre-meeting of the body that is responsible for those decisions, for example, or that helps make those decisions possible. What is Africa doing? What is Nigeria doing? To ensure that we influence those positions so that when we get to the COP, it's not an issue of why this is happening to us again, or what can we do when it comes to COP28, and not this COP27 that we are. So the embassy is around the corner. We should make efforts and ensure that we pull our position through, and then COP27 will become a victory for us. Thank you so much.